Commercial versus industrial superintendent, what's the difference? In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the differences, and you might be surprised, and it might actually help you to know what path you'll go down and to gain common ground with different types of superintendents. So if you're into that, stay with us. Okay, so I love this topic so much. First of all, when we talk about commercial, we're talking about like retail, commercial spaces, sports complexes, we're talking about hospitals, we're talking about laboratories, we're talking about airports, we're talking about commercial spaces, typically used for commercial businesses, right? So this is fast-paced, it's pretty common, you're working with trade partners, lots of construction management, great stuff. Industrial, you're dealing a lot with systems, you're dealing with a lot with equipment, you're dealing with high-risk environments, right? Environmental impacts, you're dealing a lot more with engineers. So they're very different things. And I just want you to know I have a high level of respect for both, and I really wish that everybody could get experience in both. I remember a commercial superintendent that was really, really great, and he made it mainly through process optimization and great construction management and leadership skills. And I always tell the story that he implemented, and this was an example at Hensel Phelps, their 6-step process and always queued up trades properly for the different types of work. And then I remember an industrial superintendent, which was quite impressive, that knew what I thought, maybe not exactly, but everything about welding and equipment and MEP, and knew all about commissioning and how to follow the path of construction and how to assemble and model and prefabricate these large spools, and really knew a lot about the environment, and not just OSHA but also MSHA and all of these other environmental requirements. It was just really, really knowledgeable. And so a little bit less management, a little bit more technical side, a little bit more specialization, but a lot more with risk. Because I'm a commercial superintendent, I'm like, whoa, I'm impressed. There are massive differences. Let me tell you about them right now. Actually, you know what? Let me stop and actually talk about the similarities first. So both manage the project site, provide the environment, keep everybody in rhythm, lead with the foreman and crews, and monitor safety, quality, and cost. Both. Same thing on both sides. Different levels of complexity, but they both do that generally. Both require grit, both require experience, both require leadership, both require high levels of communication. It really comes down to what they do that's different. So let me talk about that right now. So again, commercial is offices, retail, multifamily, schools, hospitals, laboratories, airports. So there is a little bit, I would say, more variation with the commercial superintendent, and you're going to follow the process builder mentality, meaning that you have a process to build anything and you utilize the wisdom of the trade partners. The industrial superintendent is doing manufacturing plants and refineries, power stations, things like that. And so typically you need some good experience with that. So it's a little bit more specific. The trades are a bit more specific, and you're a little bit more experience-based as a builder. The commercial superintendent will prioritize flow. You want flow in both scenarios, but the flow of trades, enabling the trade partners with their specialization, and making sure that we are zoning out the project properly on attack time, and that everything's kind of coming together like a beautifully orchestrated event, almost like a choir or an orchestra itself. The industrial superintendent is focused on systems, equipment, how things are commissioned, environmental impacts, and in a lot of cases, like safety. Like if you damage one of these high pressure lines or process piping with crazy chemicals in it, you are in for some trouble. So you've got to have a high focus and a lot of knowledge and experience with these systems, because it's more systems-based, more path of construction-based, more equipment-based, more commissioning-based. The commercial superintendent can find him or herself overseeing dozens and dozens of different types of trades all at once. The industrial superintendent can find him or herself literally seeing more of a focused grouping of trades doing 1 or 2 or 3 different things at a larger scale. Let's talk about pace. The commercial superintendent is a little bit more fast-paced, like let's get in here and orchestrate it, get it done. The industrial superintendent, some of these things can take a long time. I remember one time on a project site doing the chilled water lines from the actual plant over to our central plant on the building. I mean, these are massive pipes. These are 4 feet in diameter. Even just to dig out the the underground, install these pipes, do the welding, the inspections. I mean, it was a whole other world. It isn't just throw something up and go. And I'm not insulting commercial trades. I'm just saying, like, this is some detailed, heavy set work that takes some time. Really focused, got to be precise, got to be tested to the nth degree, a little bit slower than commercial construction. Let's talk about precision. Commercial does need to be precise, but not as precise. I'm talking industrial superintendents got to deal with precision. I mean, stuff that would like really worry the rest of us. I remember an industrial superintendent one time saying, Jay Money, in order to do some of the work, we had to purchase, or I can't remember if he purchased or rented it, but anyways, like this $60,000 total station that will literally shoot down to like a 32nd of an inch. Like literally, it's within the tolerance there. Beautifully perfect. And just monitoring the distance of these systems, these assemblies, like constantly to such a degree that a commercial superintendent would like flip. I'm talking the welding, I'm talking the tolerance, I'm talking the alignment, I'm talking the elevations. Everything's got to be so precise and inspected in a way that there's like double, triple, quadruple the safety precautions as in commercial construction. Let's talk about risk. One time I was in a microprocessing plant where they produce microchips, and just going in there to do renovations or build the structure in the first place required a 2-day orientation, month-long education for the different types of systems, complete protocols, zero tolerance with safety, and literally you're working around chemicals that if you breathe in one of these chemicals, you die. Or you are in so much pain the rest of your life, you wish you would die. You wish you were dead. And it's like, we have high risk in commercial construction, but this is like a whole other level. Like high risk systems, high risk assemblies, lots of structural steel, lots of really heavy components, dangerous chemicals. Like it's the industrial area, the industrial superintendent deals with much higher risk on their projects than a commercial superintendent will. The other thing is regulation. Like I'm already annoyed about the city, county, and state regulations and OSHA, right? They have to deal with OSHA, MSHA, the EPA, API, and more. And they're constantly having to make sure that they're not affecting, which is great. I'm just saying it's a whole other level of making sure that they're taking care of the environmental regulations and above and beyond what a commercial superintendent has to do. And then probably just a little anecdotal note here is that the industrial superintendent does a lot of interfacing with engineers and their teammates, and a commercial superintendent will deal a lot more with trades and teammates and the owner. So a larger owner and then public presence. So some of the skills that I want to talk about are a commercial superintendent will need to know how to finish, know how to manage, know really great coordination, know the technical tools, know project management, know TAC planning, last planner, great planning techniques, pre-con, how to lead in the field. An industrial superintendent will need to know craft specializations, rigging, hoisting, structural steel, systems, process piping, know about equipment, commissioning, permits, heavy QA/QC tracking, and heavy documentation. And so they're two very different things. So I would just say, if you're in it for the leadership, the management, the process, and you want to deal with the maybe a little bit less pressure, but more variation in the different types of work that you do, commercial superintendent all the way. If you are very detailed, you are knowledgeable, you like to have that higher education, deal with greater risk, more engineering, you like to have a little bit more specific, but know more about it, and you really don't mind the paperwork and the intensity, industrial superintendent. So these are the differences, and I hope you've really gotten a glimpse of what this can be and what the differences are, so you can choose your path or get better connection with your fellow superintendents. Either way, I'm stoked that you're here. We're going to turn this into a blog post for you because we love you, and always reach out in the comments below. I would love to address any concerns you have. I hope you've enjoyed this video. On we go.